Hello, children. I hope you're ready for an exciting episode of Brain Food. This month, we're visiting the Aerospace Center for Excellence in Lakeland. So let's get started with the word aeronautics. The word aeronautics is a noun, which means the science of flight. If you are interested in learning about how airplanes are built or how they fly through the air, that means you are interested in learning about aeronautics.
Hey guys, it's me, Sky. Here in Polk County, you may have been out to the Lakeland Airport for the Sun and Fun Fly-In, but did you know that they have programs year-round in their Aerospace Center for Excellence? I'm out at the center today, and here to tell me more about it is Jamie Jamison. She is a manager at the Aerospace Discovery Museum. So Jamie, what is the Aerospace Center for Excellence? Why was it created?
Awesome. The Aerospace Center for Excellence is the educational campus right here out in Lakeland, and it includes several buildings, the most notable of which is Aerospace Discovery at the Florida Air Museum. But it also includes our Piedmont Laboratory, which kids who are interested in learning to fly can attend summer camp out here, as well as our Central Florida Aerospace Academy, CFAA, which is a public high school open to anyone that's interested in learning more about flying. So the Aerospace Center for Excellence was recently founded in order to fill this mission of preparing tomorrow's pilots. So one of the things we saw was there was a shortage of pilots in the United States as more and more were retiring. And so the Aerospace Center of Excellence has come along to kind of promote the industry, whether it's pilots or even mechanics for kids who like to tinker and build things.
I have always wanted to learn more about flying in aircrafts. What kinds of things do kids get to learn about when they visit the center?
Well, when you come to visit the Aerospace Center for Excellence, you can kind of choose your journey, what you want to learn about. Of course, at the museum, there's a lot of history. You can learn more about some of the first pilots in Florida, including people such as Bessie Coleman, Amelia Earhart, and even from Polk County, actually, Haines City, a pilot named Pete Sones, who was called Florida's Lindbergh. So you can get a little bit of the history. And then you can come into our student discovery zone, and there's all sorts of games and activities to teach you a little bit about the forces of flight. So how does an airplane turn? How does it land when it's dark out or where there's fog? And that's just in the museum. If you sign up for any of our summer camps, they teach you a little more about the physics. And in one of our summer camps, Destination Aviation, the students actually fly an airplane at the end of camp. So there's all sorts of opportunities.
What are some different activities I can do here?
So we have year-round activities. Of course, you can come to the museum anytime you want, Monday through Saturday from 10 to 4 and Sundays 12 to 4. And you can kind of self-explore, but we do have events. For example, every summer we have our Fly Into Summer event right after school gets out, where you can come and interact with us as well as pilots. We've had someone out here even doing meteorology, talking about the weather and how clouds form. And then in October, we have our big event, Aerospace Discovery Day. And on Aerospace Discovery Day, the whole campus turns into an educational activity. It was really, really cool. You might have looked in a telescope at the stars before at night. We bring out a solar telescope, and he sits out front, and you can look through the telescope and look exactly at the sun, which you should never do with your eyes, but through this telescope, it's a really great opportunity.
Can you tell me about the new Star Lab?
Our new planetarium, we were actually able to purchase that through a grant from the GiveWell Community Foundation, and it's so much more than a planetarium. So the first thing that's really neat about it is it's portable. So we pack it up in a duffel bag, and we can take it to your school, we can take it to your Girl Scout meeting, Boy Scout meeting, YMCA, wherever you're at, we can take it. And it has several different settings, so you can look at the stars in the northern hemisphere, you can look at the stars in the southern hemisphere, in the wintertime, the springtime, anytime that you can think of. And beyond the stars, we have plates in there where you can actually do some biology lessons. We have a plant cell that projects on the top of the dome, and you can study the mitochondria and all the different parts of a cell, or also plate tectonics. So if you've ever wondered what's happening when there's an earthquake or a volcano, we have a slide that can look at that as well in the planetarium. So it's a phenomenal added feature for our educational opportunities.
Wow, that's so cool. It sounds like such a fun way to learn. How can I get a portable planetarium brought to my school?
So if you are a student or a teacher interested in bringing the planetarium to your school or your after-school program, you would just want to reach us. The best way is through email, and it's really easy to remember. It's educate, so the word educate, at flysnf.org.
Are you only open to school field trips, or can I come back here with my mom and dad?
Aerospace Center for Excellence is open to everyone. We enjoy having school field trips. It's a really great opportunity for students in the classroom setting and the teacher to come in, but we have a lot of families that come in all throughout the week. It's actually a really wonderful thing to see people talk about their different experiences with flying. You know, the older generation, grandmas and grandpas, talking about their experience maybe on Eastern Airlines, flying to Disney World for the first time in the 1970s. Or today, students talking about watching Elon Musk launch his Tesla into outer space and having a live webcam feed of that. So we love having people in here from all age groups and all backgrounds.
What do you think is the coolest part of the Center for Excellence?
So I'm a little biased, Sky. You know I love history, so I love all the artifacts in the museum. Some of my favorite artifacts are some of the trophies won by individual pilots. So Pete Sones from Haines City actually won this giant silver trophy for being the first to fly across the East Coast, and it's really neat. Look for these letters on the ground that spelt out the word liberty. I also enjoy our Innovations in Propulsion exhibit. It has engines from all different points in history on display. The thing that I love the most is every time you come out here, there's something new to see and something you haven't seen before.
Thanks, Jamie. I'm going to go explore the center and check out the planetarium. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Hi, I'm Ariana, and I'm here at Exploration's 5 Children's Museum for this segment of Senses Overdrive. This is Layla. She's going to be helping us with our activity today. So Layla, what do you have us doing?
Well, what about Newton? So do you think we can see what's happening with Newton today? So
Yes.
Here we go. All right, Newton's law.
Okay.
What we're going to do today, okay, this is really exciting because we're going to, at the end of this experiment, there's going to be a loud all right, so that's the cool part about it.
That sounds exciting.
All right, so this time we're going to experiment with time reaction.
Okay.
All right, what does that sound to you or mean?
It's like how much time it would take for something to react, and we're going to time it.
Exactly. So we have our documentation here. We have some
Okay.
clipboards and some paper because when you're doing an experiment like this, it's important that we document.
Yes.
Because something might be different, and then we can ask questions later to expand on our experiment. So, all right, I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay.
And you're gonna fill that about half full,
Okay.
both cups.
There we go. Is that good?
Yeah.
And there we go.
All right. I'm gonna give you an Alka-Seltzer. Now, I know what normally happens when we add Alka-Seltzer to water when we're at home.
Probably fizzes.
Fizzes. But let's see what happens. It's going to fizz, you're right. But
Okay.
this is where we're going to do time reaction, and we're going to time the bubbles. I call them magic bubbles because all kids love bubbles. So. All right, so what time is it? All right. So this is this is a reaction.
Yes.
This is a continuum.
They are just fizzing away.
They sure are.
They're still going.
They are. Now that tells me the bigger the Alka-Seltzer tablet, the more it's going to cause the great magical bubbles.
Yes,
okay?
and the more time it will take.
And the more time it will take. Now, here's our next experiment, okay?
Okay.
Our next experiment, we're going to repeat this because we didn't have a lid on this, did we?
No.
No. But what would happen if we did have a lid on it?
There would probably be a bigger reaction.
There is going to be a bigger reaction. So let's see what this reaction is going to do. All right? So you have a film canister. I'm going to hand you right here.
Thank you.
I have a film canister. We're going to pop it open. All right?
Okay.
We're going to switch spots and look up and see where there's any lights. So we'll be okay. I'm going to give you a plate.
Okay, thank you.
And you need something very important first before we do this experiment.
What is that?
You're gonna need some goggles.
Oh, perfect.
Goggles
Protect my
for
eyes.
safety.
Always.
All
Safety
right.
first.
Nobody said this was a fashion show being a scientist. Okay, are we ready?
Yes, we are.
All right, now we are going to break open another tablet of Alka-Seltzer, but this time we're gonna make it smaller. All right,
Break it in half. There we go.
that should be good. Maybe
Pour
one more.
Okay.
That's right. All right, so we gotta be quick on this.
Yes. Okay.
All right, so that bubble, that took about what, 45 seconds?
Probably.
I would say about 45 seconds, and that's what we wrote down for our documentation was 45 seconds. So now let's put the Alka-Seltzer tablet in. Now let's put the lid on top
Okay.
and
Wait for a reaction.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're still going.
We count up this time?
That's
One.
right.
Oh my goodness.
I was pretty close.
Oh my goodness.
I was pretty close, but what that created was a reaction, carbon dioxide, which is very exciting, and this is what happens now.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. But to experiment more with this experiment, what if we added water that was hot? What if we added more Alka-Seltzer tablets and less water? These are some really fun things that we can do at home in our backyard with our safety goggles on.
Thank you. That
You
was
are
so
welcome.
much fun.
It sure was.
If you really want to put your senses into overdrive, come here to Explorations 5 Children's Museum in downtown Lakeland. See you again soon. Bye.
Our first word of the day was aeronautics. The word aeronautics refers to the science of flight. Did you know that flying on an airplane is the safest mode of transportation? The National Safety Council says that your odds of dying in a plane crash are only 1 in 205,552. Stay tuned for our second word of the day.
Hey kids, are you ready to play Where's That At? The game show quiz that takes you around the world. All right, let's do this. Question number 1. This country is located in the southern part of the continent of Africa and is about the size of the state of Montana, and it's home to more than 16 million people. Though the country is relatively poor, they are known for their mineral exports like gold and platinum, which is used in much of the world's jewelry. Until recently, their president had been Robert Mugabe, who holds the world record for the oldest living leader of a country. Is it A, Nicaragua, B, Zimbabwe, or C, Kyrgyzstan? It's B, Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has many notable landscape features, but probably most famous of all is Victoria Falls, a huge waterfall that stretches out 5,604 feet wide. Like many African countries, in Zimbabwe you will find lots of safari animals, like the buffalo, elephant, leopard, lion, giraffe, and rhinoceros. Okay, on to question number 2. This country makes up the largest territory of the Middle East. Now, the Middle East is actually referred to as a transcontinental region because some of its countries belong to multiple continents. This country is very wealthy, mostly because it produces so much oil. It is also well known as the birthplace of the Muslim religion of Islam. Is it A, Chad, B, Poland, or C, Saudi Arabia? C, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the largest producing country of oil in the world. They sell more than 136 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars worth of oil. That's almost double the amount of the next highest selling country. The capital city of Saudi Arabia is Riyadh, and because it's in the desert, the average high during the summer reaches a 110 degrees. Now you know a little bit more about the African nation of Zimbabwe and the Middle East country of Saudi Arabia. Well, that's all for this episode of Where's That At? I'll see you next time.
Hello, and welcome to Story Time. I must say, this museum is fascinating, isn't it? This was a wonderful idea you had. Well, on to the story, shall we? Take a flying leap. Now wait, that sounds rude. I do not read rude books. Are you sure? All right then. Let's begin. On a bright sunny day with little or no wind to speak of, Becky stood next to several parked airplanes, listening to her dad speak with his flight instructor. As the two men walked off in the direction of the control tower, Becky's dad gestured in her direction. So, in 2 weeks, he said with excitement, I can solo and then take my daughter up with me? Becky sighed heavily and rolled her eyes. I don't think so. Why? Said a small voice from behind her. Are you afraid of flying? Becky glanced around nervously. She thought she was out on the apron or airplane parking area alone. There didn't seem to be anyone around. She looked under the plane to see if anyone was on the other side. No legs. Weird. Flying is actually very safe, said the same small voice. So there's nothing to be afraid of. I'm not afraid of flying, said Becky in a voice that was slightly louder than she'd intended. She might not be afraid of flying, but she wasn't particularly fond of voices that came from nowhere. Good, because there's nothing to be afraid of, said the voice, in a bright, cheerful, and confident tone. And I should know, because I fly all the time. It was then that Becky realized she'd been talking with the small airplane beside her. Was that normal? The car she had never spoken to her. She'd never had a conversation with a washing machine. What was going on? Becky glanced around nervously from side to side in an effort to make sure that no one was watching her. Fairly certain she was alone with the plane, she answered in a quiet voice, I'm not afraid of flying. Well, if you're not afraid of flying, what's the problem? Asked the little plane. Becky took a deep breath to answer and then let out another long sigh. This was silly. No one talked to airplanes. Still, the plane seemed to be eager to talk, and it was rather rude not to answer. It looks boring. Boring, said the little plane. Are you kidding? No, said Becky, fairly certain she'd offended the little plane. I mean, it's not like a car, she said, dragging her hand through her hair. At least when you're in a car, you can, if you see something cool, you can pull over and get out. Now, it was the little plane's turn to heave a long sigh. He's talking about going up for an hour, not circumnavigating the globe. Becky stared at the little plane and blinked several times. What's circumnavigating mean? It means to travel all the way around something. Oh, said Becky, sitting down next to the plane. Doesn't your dad do things you enjoy all the time? What do you mean? Asked Becky, not sure she liked the direction this conversation was taking. Well, what kind of stuff do you like doing? I like to go to ballet class, and I play soccer every week. Does your dad enjoy those things? Asked the little plane. Becky fidgeted, feeling a little bit uncomfortable. He watches, sure. So, does he watch ballet or soccer when you're not doing it? Becky didn't answer. If not, that means he's doing those things for you, because you like them. The little plane and the girl sat silently for a moment while the plane continued. My dad likes aerobatics, said the plane. I prefer racing, you know, getting from point A to point B as fast as possible. The thing is, I learned some loops and some barrel rolls so that we could do stuff together, stuff that my dad likes too. Becky stood up a little more interested now. What's a barrel roll? The little plane smiled. It's a combination of a loop and a roll. Upside down, you mean? Yeah, at some points, yeah. Can my dad do that? This made the little plane laugh. No, not yet. And I'm not even sure he wants to. He could be a racer like me, or maybe he just wants to fly around. The point is, if someone you love really cares about something, like you care about ballet or soccer, when you share it with them, you're showing them how much you love them. Becky stood up slowly and dusted off her skirt. Now I'm going to feel bad whenever he takes me to soccer or ballet. Why? Asked the little plane. If it means he loves you, it should make you feel good. Yeah. Becky looked over in the direction of the control tower. The little plane was worried that maybe she'd hurt the girl's feelings. Are you okay? Becky continued to stare off in the direction of the control tower, thinking about all the things her dad did for her on a regular basis. She thought about the times he'd driven her to the movies and dropped her off so that she could go and watch a movie with her friends. What did he do while she was watching the movie? She'd never even asked. Is it scary? She asked. Flying? Asked the plane. No, not really. And it's safer than driving a car, she said with pride. Seriously? Yep. Okay, I'll do it, said Becky, warming to the idea and glad to be doing something nice for her dad. Awesome, said the little plane. See you in 2 weeks. Becky nodded and ran off in the direction of the control tower. She couldn't wait to tell her dad that she really wanted to fly with him. Well, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this month's story. Bye.
Hey kids, welcome to Power Up. I hope you're having fun learning all about aerospace on our aviation-themed episode. If you've ever been on a plane before, you might have noticed that your body gets tired or sore after sitting down for so long. So today, we're going to learn about exercises that you can do while you're on a long flight. Just follow along and you'll have your blood flowing in no time.
Let's get started with a foot twirl. Lift both of your feet off the floor and rotate them in circles. Twirl them 5 times clockwise and then 5 more times counterclockwise. Our next stretch is called the foot pump. Keep both of your heels on the floor and point your toes upward as high as you can. Hold for about 5 seconds. Then, keeping your toes on the floor, raise your heels up as high as you can. Repeat this 5 times. Now we're going to get some feeling back into our stiff legs. Bend forward and lift one knee towards your chest, using your hands for support. Hold this position for 15 seconds and then repeat on the other leg. Repeat the stretch twice. Now let's stretch our shoulders. Raise your shoulders and rotate them in a circular motion. Repeat this 5 times one way and 5 times in the opposite direction. Our next stretch will bring some feeling back into your neck. Keeping your shoulders relaxed, slowly tilt your head to one side. Roll your neck back and forth, forwards and backwards 10 times. Our next move is called the forward bend. Bend all the way forward so that your chest touches your thighs. Hold for a few seconds, then slowly return into an upright position. Repeat this exercise 10 times. For our last exercise, we're going to take a short walk up and down the aisle. This will help stretch your legs, and maybe you'll even meet a new friend on the way back to your seat.
So drink lots of water and do these exercises, and your flight will be over before you know it. Thanks for joining me on Power Up. I'll see you next time.
Hey guys, it's me, Bo, and it's time for another simple snack. Today, we're going to learn how to make a favorite of so many kids right there at home. If you're anything like me, you love eating Rice Krispie treats. Grab your pen and paper because I'm about to tell you how you can get them just the way that you want them. We're making Rice Krispie treats with fresh fruit. For this recipe, you're going to need 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, 10 ounces of marshmallows, 6 cups of Rice Puff cereal, a half a cup of chopped strawberries, a half a cup of blueberries, and a half a cup of pineapple. You also need a pan, nonstick cooking spray, 3 bowls, and a spoon. To start off, have your parent melt your coconut oil and marshmallows together on the stove over medium-low heat. You're probably going to want to use small marshmallows because they'll melt down quicker and more easily. We already have ours combined. While they're doing that, you can take your pan and spray it with a non-stick cooking spray like this. Add 2 cups of your cereal to each bowl. Once your coconut oil and marshmallow mixture is finished, divide that between the 3 bowls and mix those together with a spoon. Once those are mixed well, you can start spreading your fruit along the bottom of the pan. Start with your strawberries and spread them along the bottom of 1/3 of the pan. Do the same with the pineapple and the blueberries right beside each other to fill in the rest of the pan. Once those are flattened, let it sit so that they can set well. After about 5 minutes, they should be set well enough to cut. You can use cookie cutters to cut them into shapes if you want, or you can just use a knife and cut them into squares. Once you've cut them out, give them a try. These are great! A healthier alternative to store-bought treats and way more fun to make them yourselves. Join me next time for another simple snack.
Our second word of the day was turbulence. Turbulence is a noun, which means sudden, violent movements of air or water. If you feel a sudden unsteadiness or shakiness in the airplane, you are experiencing turbulence. Thank you for joining me on Tina's Terms. I'll see you next time.